Hello, my lovies. I am Abbey Road Rage Schneider, and this is my dearest dear Claire Bacon, aka Slutty the
Hello.
Clown. And as you know, we have our little podcast called Once More with Abby and Claire, where we discuss all things Buffy. And usually, forgive me, we like to promote our friends. So I thought as I was cleaning out my stuff today that I would promote my friend Horror Show Jack and
Mm.
get a little vampy with you. But
Oh, they're
I
beautiful. I
haven't
remember
gotten used to
those.
talking with them in my mouth so much. So I will only leave them in for a moment to just
I
say,
love them. They're so beautiful. I remember when you showed them. I think it was at last Halloween you wore them as well.
Halloween.
They,
Yeah, I wore them for
oh, they were so
Halloween.
they're so amazing.
So
Great teeth.
anyway, Horror Show Jack coming to a convention near you. I'm also plugging
Excellent.
our Hamneyville Horror
Speaking of
podcast
the
today with
Hammertonville
my show.
horrors, we have Clint Myers. Hello, loves. Hello, my love.
Speaking of Hamneyville Horror, forgive me, I'm unvamping for your pleasure.
Oh, is that
So
what they call it?
this week we are covering two episodes, a part 1 and 2 called What's My Line?
Yes.
And this is the episode in which we discuss career day. Do they have career
Yeah.
day in England? The same kind of thing?
It wouldn't have kind of been created. They would maybe have called it Options
Job.
Day or Job Fair.
Yeah, we had
Job Fair.
job fairs. We didn't have career day like this where everybody came to the school, but I also went to a very small private
Yeah,
school.
we would
But
have had people come in from certain, probably factories and things in the area rather than what they
right,
got.
because that's
You
what's
know.
big in the area. I remember
Yeah.
the military coming in a lot because they want you.
Yeah.
So yeah, career day. You have to. The Scoobies are filling out the questionnaire to determine what their future career might hold based on their likes, their dislikes, so on and so forth. Xander is stressing. He does not care for this at all. Willow's
No.
super excited as always because it's like extra credit in schoolwork.
Yeah.
And Buffy is really bummed because she realizes that no matter what she puts down, her life is chosen for her and she doesn't get to have a
Yeah.
career other than the Slayer. Her future's already been set. So anyway, that starts the stress of the teenage girl, trying to figure out what do I want to be when I grow up. I'm going to be 50 in a couple weeks, and I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But
Same. I'm
then
48 on Monday, and I don't know what I want to be either.
Exactly. We cut to Spike, and he is having a vampire Dalton translate a manuscript. Turns out it's the book that was stolen from Giles's library, if you remember a couple weeks ago when they were set up. And Spike is getting super snippy with everybody because he's Spike, and then Drusilla comes in doing her Drusilla thing, and he snaps at her, and then of course feels bad because she's like, that's like kicking a puppy. But and Drusilla with her little tarot cards, tells him you're not going to be able to translate this if you don't have the key. You need a key. This isn't a special code. So she pulls out her cards and she's doing a reading and she shows him how to find the key. And we cut tonight where Buffy's doing her normal patrol and she sees vampire Dalton in the mausoleum, with tools, breaking and entering a whole bit. She's standing there waiting for him to walk out when another vampire walks up behind her as she's like, what are you doing here? And then, he jumps her and she dusts him. But in that time, Dalton runs away. Buffy comes home and Angel is in her room, waiting for her and not snooping, but just looking at her stuff with his back to the window. And a sheep comes in. He turns around. He's got Mr. Gordo, the stuffed pig. He's holding.
Yes, I shout out to the stuffiest in the world, Mr. Gordo.
Mr. Gordo, and this episode is full of little Buffyisms, where he's like, oh, it's nothing. She's like, you don't have a nothing face. You have a something face. And I've had a bad feeling, which is shocking because Angel has a bad feeling. And But she's cranky because, again, did I mention the job fair? And this
Yeah.
is not what she's chosen for her life. And she wants to be a normal girl and have a normal life. And as she's telling him this, she looks in the mirror, which is a great scene. And Angel's sitting on her bed next to him. And in the mirror, you just see her because he has no
Yes,
reflection, which I think is
absolutely.
just so,
Oh, 1 second. Hello, you two. Hello, my beautiful best friend, Lauren Anna.
hello,
I
love.
love you. I miss you. It's nice to see you. I love
She
you.
should come on one day.
She should. Definitely agree
It's
with that.
just something like the regular kid and her creature of the night cradle robin boyfriend, which I think basically sums up
Yeah, it
their
kind of
whole
works that way with
relationship.
Angel.
I do love the little quips in this one. And he's looking through her stuff, and
It
there's a
is
sweet
great.
picture of Buffy ice skating as a small child. And he comes up with the idea he's going to take her ice skating. And I think it's the sweetest thing in the world
The
because for
ice
just
skating
one
thread with
night,
them all the way through is pretty cute. I mean, it is that kind of reminds me of Gilmore Girls esque as well.
yeah,
Of that.
it's first love. It's all
Yeah,
that,
it's so cute.
it's a little gaggy but adorable. So he goes take her. He says, I'm taking you ice skating tomorrow night. And so that is the plan. So next day is school. Xander, Cordelia, they're looking at the list of what they think their career should be and they should speak to based on their aptitude tests. And Xander gets prison guard. Cordelia gets like motivational speaker or
Yeah,
something
motivational
ridiculous.
speaker or something like that, wasn't it?
Something like that. And Buffy gets law enforcement, which she's thinking,
Bless her.
me and polyester blue is not
It's
but
not the right
Willow.
colour. Lauren says we both look amazing. Love you,
Aw,
Mrs. Biggs. Oh, thank you. You're amazing. You look amazing.
you're amazing. So Willow does not see her name on the list. She can't find her name on the list, and she's somewhat concerned in her own little Willow way. And as Buffy puts it, Giles is in like overdrive with this like Tony Robinson type hyper efficiency thing.
Yeah.
Like you should be spending X amount of time doing this and this many hits per second and blah,
Yes.
blah, blah. And he's been like coming in with books and indexing the Watcher diaries over the last couple centuries. And she tells him about the patrolling the night before and that the vamps were actually stealing something, which is not par for course for them. So in this time, we see Willow being escorted off by two men in suits to a
Such a
special
great
room.
scene. It's
Try the
such a great
canopy.
scene.
It's excellent. So it says they tell her she's been chosen to meet Mr. McCarthy, the head of a recruiter of the world's leading software company, and blah blah blah. And she says,
It's very
"I
Men in
didn't get my
Black looking,
test
isn't
back."
it? It's very
Men
you
in
know,
Black, yeah. And I always think of the Initiative, but that will come much
yeah,
later.
exactly.
And she's like, I didn't get my test back, so I don't know what you're talking about. And they said the test was irrelevant. Like, we've been tracking you for some time now. And there's actually only one other student we've been interested
Such
in.
a
And
great
turn
moment.
around, and there is Oz holding the canopy. Try the canopy. It's great. We find out through Buffy's studies and with Giles, well, we find this out later, but Spike sends for the Order of Taraka, which is a group of
Yes.
deadly assassins who take any form, or they could be any form, so you never know what you're looking at. And he's hired them to just eliminate the Slayer because he's done with her bullshit. And Buffy and Giles are at the crypt trying to figure out what the vampires were interested in. And they find Dulac's crypt.
Yes.
And then he says, holy crap, the book that was stolen was written by Dulac, because there's got to be some correlation here. And through their research with Willow, they find that there was a special cross that was stolen from the tomb of Dulac. And he was a theologian and a mathematician. And that cross that they stole is going to act like, as Buffy puts it, a silly decoder ring to translate the book to bring a vampire back to full health. So yeah, like a Dakota ring. Drink more Ovaltine. But so then we see the bus pull up. We see scary dude get off the bus. We assume he's one of the Order of Taraka because big scary effing dude.
Big scary dude.
And then we see a businessman in a suit, salesman, and he stops by a house.
Great name. Great name.
You
his name is Norman Pfister.
Norman Pfister.
Great name. Had to get that in there.
Yeah, I love that actually. I didn't even pick up on that till you said it. And he tells the woman who answers the door, the housewife at the door, that he's giving free samples of beauty products, no selling, no buying, just giving samples. And you hear her go, "Oh, free?" And then, lets her in, door closes. We hear a loud scream. So we're assuming that's number 2 on the assassin list.
Yes.
And then we switch to an airplane cargo bay, and we see a guy searching with the thing, and then he gets beaten up by a woman that climbs out.
As we used for the trailer this week. The amazing Kendra arriving.
And we're thinking, oh, this must be assassin number 3. Yeah. So let's go watch Buffy Angel ice skating. Actually, I don't know if you know this. I meant to look it up and I just totally forgot. Was that her ice skating? Do you know? Does it say anything about that?
She does ice skate. She did do some of it. There was a double for some of the harder
big
parts,
jumps and stuff.
But she is an ice skater and she did do a lot of the parts herself. She does ice skate.
I figured that because it looked very much like
her. It looks like her.
Stunt double.
You can kind of tell when her double's in and not at this point because of the time period, and it's not like it is now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then so she's ice skating. We see creepy dude from the bus kind of peeking in the door, and he attacks. And then Angel steps in. The big fight ensues, and Buffy does this great kick slice to his throat with the skating with the
Hi,
skate,
Maria Trower. That's Maria and Matt.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
That actually happened at a hockey game once where I wish we had a Canadian boy Ryan here, because some guy actually got his neck slit by a he didn't, he survived. And as a matter of fact, they probably taped him up, duct taped him right back in the game, because hockey, they don't mess around. But anyway, so she then slices his throat with the ice skate, kills him. And you see Drusilla turning over one of the cards. She's laid out 3 cards of who the assassins are. So first one is Toast. Angel looks at him. He sees a ring on the dead guy's finger, and he starts freaking out. And she tries to comfort him. She doesn't know what's on. He's freaking out. He's all vampy faced. And
it's actually a really lovely bumpy face moment. It's kind of sweet.
It was sweet because he's like, you shouldn't have to look at me when I'm like this. It's disgusting. And she's like, I didn't even notice.
Taking the glove off and touching his bumpy bits.
Yeah, exactly. So and then you see the girl that got off the cargo plane. You see her peeking through and watching this whole thing.
Yeah.
They go back to tell Giles what they learned. Buffy takes the ring, explains it's from the Order of Taraka, and Xander's doing this jokey stuff, and even Giles snaps. So she knows, and now she's freaked out because Angel's totally freaked out and Giles is totally freaked out. And what does this mean? And so Giles tells her, they have no earthly desire other than to collect on their bounty. So they are relentless and they will keep coming until the job is done. So she's sort of, a little nervous now, but we cut to a creepy salesman guy who's the woman that he went in her house is actually the house across the street.
Mr. Norman Pfister.
Mr. Norman Pfister. We have him.
My lord.
Across. No, I love it. I love it. So the reason he inserted himself into this.
It's a real good thing, the bug thing.
Yeah.
Very creative victory. I like that.
It was. So we realized creepy salesman guy is made of bugs watching Buffy's house from across the store. Buffy walking through the job fair, and she's all nervous because she realizes this could be anybody and they're out to get her. Her spidey senses are tingling.
Yeah.
And knowing that anybody can kill you at any moment and not knowing what they look like or who they are. And poor Oz just happens to like walk up.
Yeah, that's a great shot hallway moment, actually, when she's like so paranoid and she's looking at everyone. It's a great shot moment.
Poor
again.
Oz.
Yeah, so let's say
what are you? He's like, no, it's so Oz-like, but I just feel bad for him. But so let's see. She leaves. She goes that night to Angel's house. She knocks. He's not there. She breaks into his house. And it's actually very sweet. She just lays down after she lays down in his bed and falls asleep, because you all know that bit of one place where you feel like you're going to be safe and you're going to be comfortable.
Yeah,
and I guess
it's a very touching moment, to be honest. In this
for
episode,
Buffy, that's Angel's place. No one knows where it is, and she knows that he will protect her. So she curls up in his bed to wait. Angel, we find, goes to this bar that gives information and talks to Willie the Snitch.
The first seeing of Willie the Snitch.
First time we meet Willie the Snitch, not the last time, but the first time.
Definitely.
And threatens him a lot until he tells her who was it that sent the Order of Taraka, and obviously it's Spike. And before he can find out what made this so, that's overkill in his mind. The girl from the plane knocks him out, and big fight ensues, and she's kicking ass. But Angel holds his own. Angel really is a good fighter, but she knocks him back into a cage and locks the door. And he's like, when I get out of here, I'm going to kill you. And she's like, well, you better hurry because sun's coming up soon, and this is an east rising window. So
Kendra's first dialogue in this as well, when you actually hear her, is so great. I mean, it's quite English Jamaican, I'll be honest. It's got that.
I wish she did a little better job with the accent, but I guess that's me being picky, because she tends to fall in and out of it.
But it sounds great at the time. It's so good. I mean, she's a convincing character. I love her entrance.
Oh yeah, and it's really fantastic. So, you better hurry. Sun's coming up in a couple hours, and so Giles and Willow are still in the library, studying hard and researching, and Willow passed out cold, and poor Giles comes to wake her up all softly, and she's like, "Don't warn the tadpoles! Don't warn the tadpoles!"
Honestly, Willow's dream words. She does this a lot in the whole thing, as you know. These little bits are so gold.
She's like, "I have frog fear."
Yes, it's so great. It is great.
So that's when I guess Giles had uncovered that this spell would be the key to restoring the vampire's health, and they realize this is for Drusilla. So they're like, you got to tell Buffy. So Xander gets Cordelia to drive to Buffy's house because no one knows where the hell she is right now. See if she's okay. So they go to break into Buffy's house, and Xander's going to go check upstairs, and Cordelia hears a knock at the door and sees the cosmetic salesman with the free samples. So, of course, she invites him in. We do find out that the cure, we see Drusilla and Spike, who have, hang on a second. Let me just, okay.
Have we got into anyway,
Drusilla turns over her little card, and it's the angel card, and we realize that the cure was right in front of us the whole time. The cure is Angel, because he's her sire, and that's what's needed for this spell. So Angel trying desperately to break out of this cage. Buffy wakes up in Angel's bed just as a hatchet comes down on her, and another big fight. And then she's like, don't make me do the chick fight thing. And she goes, chick fight? And she's like, nails, pulls her hair. And she's like, chick fight. And she's like, who are you? And she's like, she says, who are you? And she's like, well, who are you? And she's like, I'm Kendra, the vampire slayer. And then we cut to blank. So we find out that person number 3 getting off there is not actually the third Order of Taraka assassin, yet it is Kendra, the vampire slayer. And that ends the first episode of,
as a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's one of those great moments where you're like, I have to wait a whole week for this.
Yeah, I remember watching it in the initial and thinking, I have to wait a week to know if Angel's going to be still in that cellar when the sun comes in. You know, it was like, it was so.
And it was coming up because you see it like rising up.
Yeah, and he's shaking and shivering in a corner.
I love when they start smoking. Bianca Lawson is Kendra. She is not I don't remember where Kendra's supposed to be from. Do you? Somewhere.
I think she's supposed to be from Barbados.
Changing. Where is it?
From what I've got written in my handy little book, thanks again to Matt.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he's topping. It says Caribbean, possibly Barbados.
So that's why, yeah. So because at one point she's got a Jamaican accent. At one point she's got, it's like it changes a bit. So again,
it's got a lot of English in it.
Enunciations I would know things. It. But so we end episode 1. We begin episode 2 where they decide, let's go talk to the Watchers because something is weird. And with them all sitting there talking, they realize that Buffy was physically dead. And when a Slayer is physically dead, the next Slayer is called. And she's like, only for a minute. But that's,
I do like, it was only for a little bit.
Xander's so like funny. That. He's like, I knew this. I'm the only one. Was total bullshit.
I knew you were just like bigging yourself up.
And when he comes in and we realize that Kendra, every time she sees Xander, she like shuts down physically and vocally and everything else.
She's like,
it's adorable. She has like boy fear, frog fear, and boy fear.
Frog fears and boy fears.
And while they're talking, they find out that Kendra has Angel locked up in a cage ready to burn in the sun. And she's like, well, even before this, she says to her, why would you attack me? And she's like, I thought you were a vampire. And she's like, oh, strike one for the newbie. And she's like, I had reason to think you were a vampire. You were kissing a vampire. And Willow stands up. She's like, Buffy would never, except for the times that she does that. So then again, we realize that Angel is in danger, and they rush
Matt, that book is really handy. Thank you yet again. Honestly,
oh my God, Matt, thank you so much. That's amazing. And right before the sun comes up, Angel is saved by Willie. And I love his you can always count on good old Willie to get you back. And then he hands him over to Spike and says, you can always count on good old Willie to get you back. Because Willie he's a snitch.
He's a great character, actually.
He's great. Yeah. And he'll come up a lot more. So now Angel is drained from the fight and the sun coming up because it really drains him. Even if he didn't burn up, it was affecting him. Angel is given to Spike, who then locks him up. And Drusilla's so cute. She's like, can I play with him until the moon comes up?
It's perfect. It sets the tone even more. As we know, she also wants to play with a puppy.
Because you know how crazy she is.
Oh, yeah.
So completely. Then Cordelia sees creepy salesman guy, bugs start dripping down off him, and she's like, I think you better go. And then Xander comes in, and all of a sudden he just explodes into a million bugs, and they run into the basement, and they're duct taping the space between the door and the floor because all the bugs are coming through, and she's freaking out and he's freaking out.
It says, I feel like fangs would ruin the whole kissing thing.
I tried it once. It's harder than it looks. That's a story for another day.
I'm glad we've got some actual footage and knowledge of that.
Yeah, it's difficult. I'm not even kidding. Back when I used to kiss boys with fangs. So the two flayers, listen to me, the two slayers go to confront Willie. I'm having speaking problems. And, you know, they're taking turns beating him up. And Kendra's like, just hit him again. And she's like,
just hit him.
Hitting, I don't know. So they find out that Angel is underground. He's such a sleazeball. So the spell says that they have to kill Angel at the full moon, as he is her sire, and that will bring Drusilla back to full strength. So Drusilla's going to play with him until the moon rises because she likes to do this. Cute moment where they're walking, Giles and Kendra and the Scoobies, and she says something about Buffy finds out there's a Slayer handbook and she never got one and she's miffed.
Yeah.
You know, Giles says, I learned a long time ago that you were not going to be the one that was going to go for the things in the handbook. And you could see that Buffy's jealous of Kendra.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, she wonders if Kendra's going to replace her, and then wonders, is that so bad if she does? Because honestly,
yeah, I think she kind of wanted it. It appears in this episode she kind of wanted that. She hoped that would happen. I think
it's her way out of everything that she says she doesn't want, but we know that's not 100% true. But she thinks, being 15 or 16 years old at this point, that she knows everything she wants, and life is hard, and I don't even have, I'm not the Slayer, and it's hard. So
again, with these messages we always get with Buffy, there's always a moral to the story. There's always a cautionary tale. There's always something you can relate to, and as you say, we're not even there yet,
Yeah, and she sees Kendra and Giles bonding in a way that she never could, and a little makeup. So we cut back to Cordelia and Xander in the basement, and they're screaming because he's like, we're just going to wait for Buffy. And she's like, Jesus, you're such a coward, and you got to wait for Buffy. And why wasn't I trapped in here with someone that, has a sack and, whatever. So anyway, they decide, well, first, before this happens, they're fighting, they're arguing tooth and nail. So of course they have to hate make out. Everybody knows the hate fucking. Well, this is the hate making out, because
it's definitely that with us. I think that is the main premise of those two, really.
Oh heck yeah, it's the I hate you so much, I'm wildly attracted to you, so let's make out. So then they realize they so need to get out of here because they've taken to hate making out. So they like, that's it, and we think he's gone. They rip the tape off, they run out, and all the bugs drop down on Cordelia. Which is disgusting. Yuck. She's screaming. They're out in the lawn. She's, flicking, get them off me, get his sand.
Unnecessary hose soaking. I do feel
he enjoyed that a little too much. Like he had a whole moment there. Like you watch his eyes as he's like, well, I'm hosing the woman down. It was at first it was, I'm going to save you. And then it was, this is strangely erotic. So, they get out of the house, they go to Giles, and they find a bug, and they're like, this is what he looked like. Yeah. And they're researching. Giles finds a book of all the assassins of Taraka to try and identify who he is. So they're looking at that. We see this cute moment with Willow and Oz, where she's like, is there anything you can't do? And he's like, E flat diminished 9. He's like, that key will make me that
whole dialogue of that, the whole thing about that after the whole this episode.
I just wanted to remember to bring that up. We are at the job fair. Buffy goes to her section for law enforcement, and the woman starts talking and says, okay, is there a Buffy Summers here? And she's like, I'm Buffy. And next thing you know, this cop pulls out a gun and starts shooting at Buffy. And we realize she's the third assassin. So she grabs, Kendra jumps in, kicks the gun out of her hands. The lady grabs Jonathan. Poor Jonathin. I mean, we're seeing him more and more.
Again, Jonathan's back.
Like they're just
it's almost like he's the token hostage or the token pre-kill that never happened.
You need someone to get their butt kicked. Bring in Jonathan. Oz
but then there's no wonder, no spoilers, what happens to Jonathan.
Right, which we'll learn about later. Oz gets shot in the shoulder and the arm. He's okay, but he got shot, and that was scary.
Just a flesh wound.
Yeah, just a flesh wound. The cop runs away. Xander tries again to talk to Kendra, and she just shuts down. She's all tongue tied. He's a boy. She can't do it. They're back at the library. Xander and Cordelia uncover who the second assassin was. They find his name and his how to kill him in his disassembled form in his little buggy pieces. So the only way he can be killed is if he breaks apart in buggy pieces, and then you kill the buggies. They realize once they've uncovered what the spell is that they've taken Angel, because Buffy knows Angel is Drusilla's sire, because we found that out last week. Yeah. And she says the most cheeseball thing. You can attack me. You can send assassins after me, but nobody messes with my boyfriend. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, it's cringe.
It's so cheesy, but it's adorable. So we cut to Drusilla torturing Angel with pouring drops of holy water on him and talking about the people that he has tortured in her family, and like talking about her mom. They used to eat cake and eggs and honey until you ripped all their throats out. It was like really like she's in her full Drusilla, and then she dumps the full thing of holy water on him.
I do think as well, a quick point that I have was, if you remember on last week's episodes, we said that it had gone to a 14 age rating. And if you look at Angel when she's torturing him, that ain't no 14 age rating. You know?
It's I mean, it's
pretty graphic. Even the dialogue is pretty graphic.
Yeah, it's, you know, what we consider PG-13 in a movie. I guess they consider, well, you know, in the Jewish religion, when you're 13, you're a man. So maybe that's maybe it's got to be 14 at that point. So Spike comes in, you know, like, don't, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then Angel sees an opportunity. So he starts taunting Spike, telling him that you're not satisfying. You're not satisfying her. I can tell in her eyes she's not being satisfied. You need to step up your game there, Spike. And just egging him on until Spike just grabs the stake and is about to stab Angel when he realizes what Angel is doing. He knows if he kills him now that they can never do the spell. So, you know, he finds that pretty amusing.
He figures it out.
Does not give in to the Angelisms, but it does give you a brief insight into when Angel is not sweet and good, how, you know, some people when they go right for the jugular with their insults, and I feel like he's one of those that he knows exactly where to hit you.
I feel it's a glimpse of the other side of Angel. No spoilers, but I feel it's a glimpse of Angelus very soon that we'll see.
We'll get more into that soon. So her and Kendra are having a moment, and, you know, Kendra's telling her what does she say? She says something about like, you never learned what a secret identity means, because she realizes Xander knows who she is.
Everybody knows who she is.
Willow and everybody. And she explains that when she was a baby, her parents gave her away to her watcher. Like, that's how seriously her people take her calling, and that she wasn't even raised by her own parents because of her
she's not allowed to talk to boys. She's only allowed to study. She's not. That is her job. She's got one set of clothes, the poor girl. Yeah.
That was so funny. And Buffy says to her, you know, my emotions give me power. They make me who I am. She's like, that's why at the end of the day, she's like, the skill is unmeasured. She's like, but I would kick your ass. And Kendra's getting like a little more angry and a little more, I know, I can't wait for Angelus.
Me too, Matt. Can't wait for Angelus. Definitely.
And, you know, basically Buffy saying at the end of the day, I improvise, you're by the book, I'll win.
Yeah.
And then she gets all pissed off. Buffy's like, you feel that? That's anger. That's what I'm talking about. You got to embrace that shit. You know, Kendra trying to show off and shoots a crossbow through a lamp. And they're like, everything okay? Oh, yeah, Kendra just killed the mean old lamp. No worries.
Yeah, it's pretty good. There's some great one-liners.
You can see that they're starting. Yes. You could see that they're starting to respect each other, at least for the skill, and trying to understand the differences as well as the commonalities.
Similarities, yeah.
So
I do find it's very sweet between them as a girl friendship. The fact they are so different, but obviously they do the same job. It's the same thing, but they
yes,
have
and
different
that
lives completely. I do think it's very sweet.
yeah, and again, when we get into like later days with Faith, like you understand the reason why she is so pulled to these people, because her friends are wonderful, but they still, there's that one part they'll never
They're
be
not
able
the
to
Slayer.
understand. So they go to beat up Willie again because they decide Willie's got to know where Angel is, and Willie double crosses Buffy as he does and hands her over to
As he
the
does
Order
with
of
everyone.
Taraka. As you know, we see the ritual. Spike is performing the ritual. He's hot when he's speaking another language, and Drusilla and Angel are tied to this pole together. And Willie brings Buffy to Spike while he's and does not seem to understand that, like, what are you, an idiot? You're going to bring her here now? Like, you're setting yourself up for, it's like those villains that spend the whole time telling you their entire plan.
Don't take her
just
there.
to have
You're
them
going to
beaten.
take her anywhere, not there.
Then Kendra busts in, like the whole two Slayers, no waiting, and start.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty cool
Buffy
lines.
is,
Again, it's fast paced.
the lines are so good. Buffy's fighting the officer. Kendra is fighting Spike, and Xander eggs on the bug guy. And he and Cordelia catch him in glue and then stomp him to pieces. And then I think they hate make out again. Or maybe that's later. I don't know.
I think it's later.
Excuse me. There's a lot of hate making out.
A lot.
I've been there. I did that before once in my life, a long time ago. And then I like, they're just like Buffy and Kendra switch. They do the back roll over the back. And then Buffy and Spike are fighting. He's like, I really wanted to fight you anyway. Kendra's fighting the cop. I'm so sorry. Spike. Spike sets the church on fire. And grabs Drusilla and goes to make a run for it. Buffy takes the incense
everything
burner, wings it into his head and knocks him down, and the whole organ system comes down on him.
Yeah, all the pipes, all everything, the whole thing comes up.
And now he's trapped in the church. And then we cut to my favorite moment of, and I should have written it down. I meant to write down the whole quote, but Oz and Willow, and I love them. Oz is using his animal crackers. The monkey's the only animal cracker that actually has pants, and like
the hippo's really jealous. And he should be, because the monkey's the king of the jungle.
Hippo dignity. Yeah, it just, who in the zoo, as he says. I will never forget
It's so great. It's
and
such a
then
great thing.
He's doing the monkey voice, and Willow goes, "The monkey's French?" And he's like, "All monkeys are French.
All monkeys are French."
Which so I didn't know before this.
Honestly, Oz is just an absolute breath of fresh air every single time. In the entire thing when he's on screen.
She says, "Your hair's brown." He's like, "Oh, sometimes," like he just, because he's Oz.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you kind of
Xander,
also
Cordelia,
that's the quote of what we're going to find out later about Oz, and it gets darker again at the end scene. It goes through 3 changes. It's ginger at the beginning, it's brown in the middle, and then it's nearly black by the end. And it's giving us that hint.
That's fascinating. It's interesting. I never picked up on that. I love that.
I did. Because it's me, and I'm a weird little fat girl.
No, it's perfect. I love it. Kendra goes to leave. She's going back to her watcher. Buffy's like, "Oh, I'll miss you," and Kendra's like, "I don't hug. Keep your hugs to yourself." She gets in the car, and it's a sweet moment. They've learned to respect and work together, and then the episode ends with a fully renewed Drusilla lifting Spike out of the mess, just like literally picking him up and carrying him out of the church.
His little feet are dangling.
Little feet are dangling. I'll take care of you, sweetheart.
Right.
So obviously we realize Drusilla is back to full strength, and Spike got his butt kicked. So there'll be a little future going on there. So what have you got for me, my love?
Right, so we haven't got much music this week, my love. What we have
No.
is there's a scene at some point. One second. Where we've got Vivaldi's Four Seasons, the spring from Vivaldi's Four Seasons. He's played a little bit of a point with the Drusilla Angel parts before we click over more into two. It's like the beginning of two. And that's about all we've got music wise. I do have some great little bits that I wanted to bring up that were absolutely awesome. I did like in the first episode, there was a bit with Xandra's, these one-liners that we've been coming up with when they can't find Buffy. And it's like, well, maybe she's unplugged her phone. And it's like, Xandra said it's statistically impossible for a 16-year-old girl to ignore her phone.
And you're not wrong.
It's true, and it's such a true quote. It's like there is no 16-year-old girl on this world who is going to turn her phone off, pull it out the wall, or ignore her phone at 16 years old. It doesn't work that way, even now.
I can't do it. The only time I do it is in the movie theater. I shut it off because I don't want to be able to look at it.
I did think as well, as we've said, there was. I mean, I loved the Norman Pfister as a character. What a great name! And it said it a few times. I had to actually go and check, and that is actually the name of the character, the bug guy.
I think that's hysterical.
And I think that's just beautiful. It's really quite fun. There's a couple of quotes in the second one that I quite like. When they come back after the job fair, Cordelia and Xander, and they see the state of the school after the careers day thing, they basically say, "What did you have the British Football League here?" Which is obviously a reference to our football hooliganism in the 90s, which was very, very bad. So that's quite a nice little quote. I've got a couple of other things. 1 second. Dalton, the character, the book guy. It was in both episodes. The guy who was translating for Spike. Mm-hmm. His name is Eric Sayet, and he was Shermite in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he also had a role in Godzilla, which obviously also had Matthew Broderick in.
Ah, cool.
So that's his connection, is the Matthew Broderick connection to that guy. Howard Gordon, who wrote this, was originally a writer and co-producer on The X-Files.
That makes sense.
He actually wrote and directed this episode, so which is pretty cool. And I think that's about all I've got this week, really. As I said, there was no music in the second one. We had some great references, though, in the second one. We had Pink Power Ranger reference.
That was so funny.
Calm down, was great.
Pink Power Ranger.
We also had a Molly Ringwald reference, as she said, I'm feeling I need a teen girl movie fest. I'm thinking the Ringwald era. That was pretty cool. We've also got Xander's I Am the Walrus, Cuckoo Cuckoo.
Cuckoo Cuckoo. Which
is a great quote. And I mean, there's so many beautiful things in this, but I think that's about, it's the only episode where you ever hear the word flummoxed.
Flummoxed. Good word. I'm a
obviously
fan.
Obviously by Giles with that. But yeah, absolutely great episode. And again, Oz is absolutely outstanding. The whole dialogue, the whole how he enters. Again, we've seen him a couple of times. We've had a little bit of things. He saves Willow. He's so charming and amazing. He's absolutely a sweetheart. It's like, if I was Willow, I'd be gone by now.
I was
I'd be in love
for him too. He's adorable too.
Honestly, Seth Green is outstanding in this, and he only gets better, I feel, as it goes on.
I hope you get to meet him one day. He's so worth it. He really is.
I would absolutely love to meet him. I think he's absolutely awesome. And of course, I love him from a lot of other things. I love him as Scott Evil. I'm a big fan of the.
Oh my God, yes.
Scott Evil is just an amazing character. But yeah, as what he did for us, I feel this should have always been a spin-off of his own story.
I agree. And I bet if he wanted one, there would have been. I think
he had his own I think it would have been possible. He was such a popular character, and as he progresses, with no spoilers, some of the later episodes he's in, wow, they're dark and amazing. He's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and he's just, even when you're never supposed to hate him, but like even when he's angry, you can't, because he's wonderful.
You
and
can't,
just,
because you know he's fighting
justified.
inside, and who he is as a person when he's not the other person is just completely different. And it's like, as I say, his dialogue, as such as you said, the whole thing with the monkey pants, you know, the whole dialogue that he has, the way he is with Willow, is something we didn't see at all. Willow was the one who was unnoticed, unheard, unseen, connected really with nobody, as you say, with the little comments and like her dream when she wakes up, don't want the tadpoles. It's like she was in her own little world, and then he comes along and somebody understands her immediately. And
there
I love
used
that.
to be a I don't know, it wasn't a podcast. It was like a guy's Facebook or something that I used to follow, and my friend Mikey and I used to follow, and it was the sleep talking guy. And his wife would just record him, and he would sleep scream. And he would say things like,
someone like this, as you well know.
Yes. I don't know. Does it look really weird?
Night terrors and dreams. He says the craziest stuff you've ever heard in your life.
I have, again, my same friend Michael, because he is he's a sleep talker too.
Yeah.
He'll know what this means. You assholes! This snake's head is right there. If he were watching this, he would know what that. But anyway, these are hard to talk in because I didn't put my.
But they look amazing.
Thank you.
They're beautiful.
But next week, I'm actually super excited for next week. We get 2 episodes next week. The first one is called Ted, and that stars or co-stars.
It's such a great episode.
John Ritter, who I adore. And an episode. I'm gonna take these out. Okay. I'm not used to talking with them. An episode called Bad Eggs. Again, horror show Jack. And look, it comes with a mold of my teeth, so I can put them right. I don't know if you could see.
God, I would so love some. They're amazing.
I mean, yeah. I'm hoping when I see him again, I want to see if he can. I think I screwed one of them up, but that's just me. But anyway, as I was saying, so next week is Ted and Bad Eggs, and they're 2 cute. Well, I don't know if Ted's a cute episode, but it's a good episode because anything that John Ritter is
in a way, but it's very sinister also. Ted, I'm looking forward to that.
When they're on their little mold, they just stick on the. They hang out there, wait for my teeth. Isn't that cute? Plus, I have very small teeth. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that because, like I said, John Ritter was just a genius and a dream, and I miss him a lot.
Yes, yeah,
and
definitely.
I guess that's it. Unless anybody has any questions for this week.
I think that's where we are. Where our shout outs as usual. Perfect Ted podcast, our great friends. Hammersville Horror Podcast, our great friends Clinton Don over there. Shout outs also to Scream Until You Like It.
Scream Until You Like It.
Shout out to the wonderful Adam Backus of horror movies of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and action movies of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
And sci-fi movies of the 60s, 70s, 80s.
And everything in the world. Shout out to Richard Bacon, my long-suffering husband, who does all the technicals for this every week.
Bacon, who just had a birthday recently. Happy birthday,
Bacon turned 52 recently. And he's still gorgeous.
Yeah, he is.
Gorgeous. Yay!
And it's my birthday on Monday, and I'll be 48.
Monday, huh? So I'm only like a week and a half behind you. I'm the 26th of July. Are you a Cancer though? You're a Cancer.
I am indeed.
Okay, because I know I'm Leo. But yeah, I'll be the big 5.
Only just though. You're only just a Leo. You're only a few days.
I'm literally cusping there, and a lot of times
I'm a true Cancer. I'm in the middle.
Yeah, I have some of the traits. I understand.
Rich is a Cancer as well.
I love you very much. I love all you guys that stopped in to say hi. And
thanks to everyone. Thanks to Matt and Maria yet again. Thanks to Clint for popping in again. Thanks very much.
Yeah, seriously, that I'm loving this.
Yeah,
and I love that.
I keep wanting them to come on. I keep plugging away because Matt knows so much about Buffy. They're actually rewatching with us at the moment. I saw Maria in the supermarket.
See, that makes me so happy. I know.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm hoping, like I said, Ryan and Adam. I told them, Don, Clint, anybody, Mike, Nicole, anybody that likes
anyone
Buffy.
wants to come on. Anyone wants to
Corey,
ask any
Joe,
questions.
come on. I love me some Buffy. So anyway, we will see you guys next week. I hope that you watch. I hope that you like and subscribe and ring that little bell, as my friend Claire says. And God,
ring the little bell thingy.
And all right, I guess that's it. Have a great day,
We
guys.
love you very much.
Bye.
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 Bye.